Hello and welcome to PlayStation Unchained. I'm your host this week, Chili, as we talk about PlayStation news, video games and all that good stuff. Another news is a little bit dry this week. We, of course, are not dry. Okay, I guess he's disappeared again, but the rest of us are not dry, I guess. Oh, he's back! Yay! In case anyone knows, we've got a co-host, Gary, with us this week. Hey, Gary.
Hello. Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome back.
Okay. Thank you. I'm back.
So how are you this fine day?
Voice problem. Good. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm not too bad. What you been up to?
Oh, just playing games and stuff. That's what I do.
Video games are the funs. So,
yes, they are.
You got any plans? Any cool plans that nobody should know?
I do. My plans are leaving the state tomorrow to
visit England.
Go
Yay! Yay!
National flights would be nice.
Go play Chili. Oh.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll shut up. What are you gonna do?
Oh, I'm going to play a game that I think I can tell. Yeah, I'm going to play Borderlands 3.
Nice.
Press event that 2K is flying me out to play.
I slightly hate you, but not really.
Yes, I should be streaming the game as well this Tuesday. So
nice. At Twitch TV, twitch.tv/PSU Live. I'll be in charge of the code, in charge of the one-time password. But as soon as he'll be able to log in, I'll give it to him.
Just do.
Phrasing. Give it to him.
I'll give it to him hard. I will slip that code straight into his DMs.
Yes, please.
It'll be a long drawn-out code. It's definitely not going to be 16 characters or less.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
that's a good reference.
I can't wait to see the Borderlands coverage. I wish I'd known because I'd sent a friend questions for it because I love Borderlands. So I might slip some questions into your DMs if you get any interviews. Slip them into your
DMs. So far, I no interviews have been confirmed, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Sounds good to me. So we've got Tim here. Tim, hey.
Oh, hey.
How are you?
Okay.
Sweet.
I'm doing the things.
What have you been up to this week?
Hunting for random stuff. Mostly in games, but yeah.
I heard you've got a new vroom.
Not a new one. I just got it back from the shop.
Oh, I was talking about the Final Fantasy 15 card, but okay.
Oh, yeah, I just got it from the shop is what I like to call the Golden Saucer. That's just my vernacular.
Okay. Anyway, finally, after hearing the fact he's listened to our podcast for so long, and I can't believe we're finally being able to say this, but welcome to the show, Ed. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate that.
It's nice to have you on, man.
It's nice to be on. I'm like you mentioned, been listening for a while, and I just love your guys' conversation. So,
thank you. Well, now you get to listen to us live, you crazy fool. I mean, welcome.
Thank you.
So, what have you been up to? I know you're a friend of Gary, but anything you want?
Yeah, my life it's pretty consuming. I work out, and then I take care of my dogs and cats, and that's.
Oh, what are the names of dogs and cats?
I got 2 husky Malamutes. One's 90 pounds. His name is Bowser.
Oh.
The other guy, he's about 80 pounds. His name is Loki. Then 2 little kitties. One Persian. Her name is Evie. And then another kitty by the name of Ezio. All video game and comic book nerd stuff.
This cat is adorable, Evie.
Oh yeah, you better not get that.
You guys have seen Evie?
Yeah, Gary shares pictures of her like it's his child.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Make sure Evie's not near any evolution stones.
It is my child. He just doesn't know it.
Apparently not. I mean, he's got the key to the house. He can take her anytime he wants.
Oh, snap.
Oh, God. No, don't do it. No. Don't give him permission. He's got recorded evidence now, so...
Yep. I'm going to feed the shit out of her. She's going to be a chunky little girl.
Perf.
perf.
He's going to force an evolution stone on her. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I understand that reference.
Hey, I understand that reference.
Bakugan, right?
I thought it was Digimon. Sorry, I got my things confused.
Yeah, probably that.
Everything should be Digimon, IMO.
Damn it. Anyway, I guess we should talk about PlayStation stuff. Maybe, probably.
Yes.
We're a PlayStation podcast. Last week we were talking about PS5 specs and speculation on what it's going to be like. But we've heard that Ed has his 2 cents or 5 cents or whatever the conversion rate is right now on the topic.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I know your last podcast, you guys discussed the hardware in general, and I just wanted to give what I understand behind that information to your listeners and you guys.
Give it to us.
Okay. I know you mentioned SSDs and the comparisons between that and the current state of the hard drives in the PS4, which are mechanical, meaning they have platters within it that spin, that has a needle that goes through the different sectors, reads it, delivers the information to either your GPU or your short-term memory RAM, which all just gives you the ability to play. And I know you guys mentioned, what you thought was going to happen. I think somebody mentioned a terabyte as being the default start. I kind of agree with that because the pricing in that whole realm has gone down drastically. Like if you were to Google, like a good name SSD brand to me is Samsung, Crucial, Western Digital makes some good ones, and about a 500 gig right now is going between $50 to $80, which is nothing as to what it compared to be in the past, which is around $200 to $300.
Oh yeah, but I also don't think that they're low enough for them to put in 2 terabytes just yet. I feel like 1 terabyte would be the sweet spot with the rest of the hardware.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with you there. The 2 terabytes, they still do kind of climb in price. I think it's around $300.
Yeah.
If
We got to remember this.
Upgrade.
Yeah, well, it depends on how they're going to do it, really.
I don't see them taking that away, though. It's been like that for the PS3 and then the PS4. And then even lightly with the PS Vita, so I don't see them taking it away.
Yeah,
carry on, Ed.
No, I just wanted to say, like, with the PS4 aspect, if you guys have actually attempted to put your SSD in there, I speculate, I don't really confirm this because I've tried it just for fun, is that the software is limiting your load time and utilization of it along with the hardware. I don't think they have the correct bus controllers within it, like SATA 2 or SATA 3. I think they might be. This is all... If
I'm rightly, the original PS4 is SATA 2.
Is it? Okay, maybe the Pro they upgraded the controllers on. I know they did for the USB aspect. They made them 3.
Yeah, I think if I'm right, the Pro is SATA 3, but I don't think it has... I don't think it 100% supports SSD still.
Right, I completely agree with you there because SSDs, like the better name brands, they support up to like around on average 500 megabytes per second read.
Yeah.
And if they're a good brand, they'll do the same thing for the writes. And some of them are peaking at 550, 600, but that's also limited by that bus controller, the SATA.
Well, if the rumors are true that the Sony's SSD is actually going to support several gigabytes, it'll be weird to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping they let you use that and full speed utilization, and your load times will be drastically cut. It just depends on the actual game itself and what the actual information is being utilized for as far as loading into the GPU or into your RAM, and that's all up to the developers to optimize that.
And this is why I'm also sorry. Go on, Gary.
I was going to ask, but do you think that they will completely erase loading times like people are speculating?
I'm going to have to strongly disagree with that aspect, and that's just my opinion. Just because you're in a world where everything is using a lot more data nowadays. We're in the megabytes or gigabytes. Even with our apps, they have a small little amount of time they got to load into the memory. When I say memory, I mean the RAM, which is your random access memory. That's your first loading point for any system to put it, into a place where it can quickly access it. So you will always have some kind of loading aspect. Now they can make it fancy and kind of get creative with, displaying a logo, and you're just, watching a logo be an emblem in front of you for 3 minutes, or 3 seconds. And in the background, they're loading it. So you think it's seamless, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes Grand Theft Auto has that aspect. They do
Well,
for a
that's
few items.
my idea of how they're going to be, where they said there's no loading times. It's just going to be like there might be occasionally a black screen. Like where
Agreed. Yeah.
it won't really have loading times. It's just like a loading second or two.
Yes. Yeah. I can see that happening.
And that's if the rumored specs of the SSD are true, I feel like that's why custom SSDs will not be allowed in, because of the fact that it'll be designed for that speed. So if you actually change your SSD to something bigger, you might see more load times. So
It depends. Sorry.
depends.
Oh, I thought Tim was going to say something. I'm sorry. I was just going to say that it doesn't really affect it because you got to remember there is no mechanical parts in these SSDs. They're all flash
True.
now, right? So it's just depending on where the sector that the data has been placed into on the hard drive, and if it has a good reliability rating. So these guys have an end of life type of cycle depending on the type of configuration they have. Now the three that exist right now are single layer, multi-layer, and tri-layer, and that means how much data they can stack into a block of memory. The commercial consumer editions, the better ones, are going to be the multi-layer, and then the crappier ones are going to be tri-layer. The single layer are more used for like corporations or businesses. If they really need that crazy amount of speed, they'll have that, and what that enables it to do is be less written and deleted from, meaning that particular sector is not going to be exhausted. Now, don't get worried. I'm not saying it's going to be exhausted towards the end of your PS5 lifespan if you had a day one, because they have a pretty high lifespan, like in the, I don't want to say billions of hours before one particular sector dies. So you have to be reading and writing constantly to that particular sector before it completely just disables. But that's not something you should be concerned with. But I can say, though, it can degrade your performance over time. And also with an SSD-based flash, if you do get closer to the 75% fill rate or the 80% of the disk, meaning there's not enough space left, there's 20%, let's say, left, that starts to degrade performance too. And that's just easily found as far as information by Googling it.
Silly Ed, do you think people are going to Google things? They'll only Google things once it stops working.
Exactly, you have a really good point there.
Then you can just tell it to turn off and on again, it'll be fine.
Right?
Oh.
Yeah, because then Sony also now has to worry about how much space is taken up for
Operating system.
the OS, the operating system, and
Yeah.
Absolutely.
like that. So
The smartest...
I think
Oh, sorry.
it told you right off the bat how close you are to getting to that phase where it's gonna start slowing down your PS5.
Yeah.
But
The smartest thing they're going to have to do is just have a separate mini SSD inside the thing for the operating system itself. To store that rather than actually using the one for the gaming.
Yeah.
That might work.
That's
Maybe.
pretty standard in computers, so.
Yeah. So.
Right. Hey, can I add in?
Yeah, sure, you can add in stuff.
You can add whatever you want, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. This is from the PS3 era because I had this big problem with finding a compatible hard drive. If you guys have one of the first editions, the 6020 gig fat PS3s that had the full backwards compatibility,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
If
because
you
I
had
lived in
ever
Europe.
tried-
I get it.
If you had ever tried to upgrade that hard drive, you would have a lot of problems if you were to buy one of our existing spinning disk hard drives that we have for this era, just because they're in a different format, which a lot of people don't really, like at a common consumer level, you're not going to realize that aspect, which means the particular sector on a disk, whatever its default allocation size may be, we had this new thing that was invented for those particular sectors called advanced formatting. Now what that means is each sector can hold 4 kilobytes of data in comparison to the old 512 bytes. Now, that is the biggest problem between the new drives and the old drives that the PS3 supported at a software level. So if you didn't have the older drives that had the 512 byte limitation per sector, and you tried to install one of the newer ones that we have today, it would have been incompatible. It would have said, oh, hard drive not found. So if there's any listeners out there that ever wanted to try to upgrade their PS3 hard drives, you're going to have to look for some of those older models that specify 512 byte sector size. Otherwise, it'll never load.
Oh,
With
well.
that technology, though, with that technology, that 4K byte size, it's the reason why you have the smaller 2.5-inch form factor laptop drives able to now crawl into the terabyte and 2 terabyte range, because they were able to fit more data per sector into that particular spinning platter. And that's where we had that evolution of huge laptop hard drives in comparison to 3.5 inches.
Hell, I'm old. I remember when 1 gigabyte was like, oh my god, when we ever use 1 gigabyte?
Right?
I got like a 3 gigabyte hard drive. And I'm like, oh my god, so much space. I can fit everything.
Now it's like nothing.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, that's a DVD, mate.
Right.
You can fit those into a Blu-ray. Like, oh yeah. It's like when I hear people talk about RAM, and they go, oh my god, my new computer has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm like, you said RAM, right? Not hard drive. Okay.
Oh, no, I was talking about hard drives. RAM is the...
No, I'm just saying that the size of RAM has gone crazy to me as well.
Yeah, it's because it's that short-term memory aspect.
Yeah.
It's like comparable to humans of what we think of actively, that's RAM.
Yeah.
So the more you have, the more you can do as far as multitasking, and if the program requires it, it's...
That's why I need to upgrade my own RAM.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I need a solid state frontal lobe.
That'd be amazing. So, we all know that the Xbox has its new gaming service coming out called xCloud. Google has the Stadia, or I like to call it the Studia.
Stevia?
The Chavia.
The artificial sugar?
You can artificial sugar me anytime.
Okay.
Or you can do the real sugar thing.
Stevia?
Stadia. But of course, we all know who was first. PlayStation with PS Now, where you can stream your games on your PC, your phone, your PlayStation, and not your TV anymore because they disabled that because they're idiots. Why you do that?
You can't do it on your phone.
I thought you could.
Oh, they added remote play to your phones, but not
Aww.
now from everything.
I thought iOS supported. Oh no, that's when I'm playing it, didn't it? Yeah.
Nope, it's just the remote play. Yeah, I'm really angry about.
Okay, so you can
It's
play
now on
PS Now
TVs.
on your laptop or your PS4. But anyway, Sony have announced that they're going to be talking about video game streaming from next month. At least an event next month. There is currently 700,000 subscribers for PS Now, which, considering how many PS4s, sounds like there's not many, but really, that's a decent chunk when you think about the fact it's an optional service. It's about a little more than what was on the PS3 when it came to PS Plus subscribers. So,
I find that number interesting because I feel like it's a little too low
yeah.
since they're destroying Xbox Game Pass with subscribers. We already saw that chart that was released of how many people have PlayStation Now and all the other services, and obviously over 70% of people were on PlayStation Now. Well, it's interesting to me to see the numbers for Xbox Game Pass now because obviously they're pushing the hell out of that thing. But yeah, 700,000 is for me. I was expecting at least in the millions.
I was expecting the millions, but at the same time, it's not the worst numbers they could have brought up. It almost
Obviously,
is.
they're very happy about it. What was it, like a 60% increase for
Yeah,
them?
yeah.
From year to year. So
do you think we'll see
but
more
I
information
was
on it,
expecting more.
such as bundles maybe? Do you think we're going to get PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now bundled together? Yeah. Ed?
I would hope so. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, what was the question?
What-
PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus bundle?
Yeah, do you think you'll see them pushing streaming more now that the Stadia and xCloud are being a thing, along with the Game Pass?
Great question. I think streaming in general, I know you guys have discussed it in the past, but I think it may be the future, but that all relies on our infrastructure and uncapping the 1 terabyte download that we have through our majority of our providers for the internet. So for them to bundle it up and start kind of pushing on that aspect, yeah, I can see that.
Especially if they talk to the ISPs about it, because remember, I don't know about over there, but we've got quite a few mobile networks where now certain things will not use data caps. So say you've got 5 gigabytes of data on your phone. but you watch Netflix, that Netflix data won't count towards your cap.
Right. Yeah.
So, I think the same things for like Instagram, YouTube, and I've got hiccups on Spotify.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think T-Mobile does that on their.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going with Free right now because I think Free does it and Virgin Mobile. So
there you go. I just know when the whole Netflix thing was getting big back in the day. When I say back in the day, like 5 years ago.
Back in the day.
Yeah. You had the whole uproar from the telecom companies just shitting themselves because they're like, "Are you kidding me? Now we're gonna have all these people streaming." So they were trying to limit that bandwidth, and they're talking about cap rates, and they had to actually raise some of those caps. I remember Comcast. Don't quote me on the years, but it was at a 500 gig point. Now it's at a terabyte for everybody. And sometimes they send you notifications saying, "Hey, it's a free month. You can go beyond
really
that
good.
terabyte download limit."
I'm actually thinking about switching to Free because I need a new phone. Because they've now, I know this is off topic completely, but I found out that if you visit another country, there's no charge. So if I
charge for free,
yeah, free. So if I visit America, I won't be charged extra on top of my data that I'm already using.
That's awesome. I wish we had that provider here because I don't think we do.
Yeah, because I'm with Vodafone right now, and when I was in America last year, I had to pay an extra £5 a day.
Oh, yeah. It's funny you mentioned Vodafone because I bought a SIM card last time I was in Europe. And I had you guys have it so cheap there. I bought a 25 euro SIM card that had 10 gigs of data, which is unheard of here.
Yeah, we got decent contracts. Yeah.
We definitely do.
Yeah. Our internet's really good as well compared to American prices, I think. Like I've got 76 meg down, but I only pay £36 a month.
Wow. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
And £18 of that is only because I have to pay a license fee for owning a phone.
Right. Yeah, I have
the actual
Comcast
internet's only £20.
Oh, nice. I'm paying $100 for. I have a gigabit download here, but they limit your upload considerably.
Yeah.
Like I got it because of work, and they only allow us 35 megabytes per second upload, which is.
That's bullshit.
Sir.
I want TalkTalk to do 1 gigabyte internet, but only in selected towns right now because they're still testing in England. But because they're in testing phases and there's issues with it, they're giving everyone a stupidly good deal. Because there might be you might have days without internet or whatever because of this. So if you sign up now, you get 1 gigabyte internet for £25 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you sign up during the testing period, you get that locked for about 2 years.
Yeah, you gotta jump all over that, man.
It's in the other town. I can't get it. It's literally 50 miles away. I'm like, I want it. Just bring it here. Bring it here.
Awesome.
It's like us trying to get Google Fiber, Ed.
Yeah.
You can't get it.
Man, you heard they dropped that plan, right, Gary? Because of all the telecom companies that are ruling the lines here, they didn't want to work with them, so they're like, all right, well, we'll just invest in 5G, and that was it.
Oh well. Yeah. As much as I love my provider, I live right next to my exchange, and I don't get my full speed because I say I don't live close enough, even though I can go outside and just pet it.
Excuse me, you live right next to it, and you can't get full speed?
No, I can't get full speed.
What kind of shit is that?
I'm like, oh yeah, you don't live. I'm paying for 76, but I get 46 to 50, which I'm not complaining about too much, But I'm like, it's right there. I'm stood next to it.
Do they use a node tier system, and you have too many people in that same node?
I'm gonna go, yeah.
Probably.
Anyway, let's go back to video games. So PS5 is going to support streaming, which means, sorry America. No, seriously, I know too many friends that are having issues over in America that I feel bad. I know one guy that only has 1 meg internet because that's the fastest his area will support. So
yeah, I mean, it really just goes back to what Microsoft tried to do 7 years ago.
Yeah.
They announced the Xbox. Yeah, with the Xbox One being streaming only, or not streaming only. You have to have an internet connection to play it, and
yeah,
clearly, and people fought back against it, and now they're getting what they want. They just released their wait, I don't know if they actually just released it or not.
I don't think it's been released yet. You're
Yeah,
talking about the
all
SAD.
streaming Xbox. Yeah, yeah, the digital only Xbox One, which by the way still has the eject button on it to open the disk drive, but it doesn't work.
It also has the
That's funny.
it also has the space inside for the disk drive and all the components for you just to install your own disk drive if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They literally didn't do anything. They just locked it up and said the disc is. They like took out the lens that reads the disc or something.
Well, no, they took out the actual
Here's the
disk
Xbox.
drive, but if you look at the actual chip, the space is still there for it, and I think some of the connectors are still there as well.
It's just a cheap design
Yeah,
to get what they wanted. But anyways,
a cheap design that costs more.
I still feel like streaming is too early to go all streaming. I know Stadia thinks they can do it. They obviously have Google behind them to help them out, but I just don't think our society right now is fully ready to go a few years away from that. We talked about, the PS5 is having backwards compatibility. At this point, I'm wondering what that really means. Does that mean I can put in my PS4 disc in, or does that mean my digital PS4 download will play on my PS5?
I feel like both. I feel like I don't know if.
See, it's now getting me thinking. Like, what do they mean by their backwards compatibility? I know the Xbox One does both of them now. But it's, whenever they add games to it, it's not like I can just put in whatever game I want and play it. It has to be a game that they support now.
Well, every game will be supported by the PS5. I can tell you that. But I feel
it's something we'll have to see.
I feel like that what's going to happen is maybe there'll be a digital license you'll get from putting in disc in. Where you'll put the disc in, it'll load the store up. You'll be forced to download the game from the store. But then you'll need to have the disc in it anyway as a authentication disc sort of thing.
We'll see. I would be very upset if my digital library didn't carry over to the PS5.
Yeah, I feel like
that
that will, but the physical I
figured
don't
that
know.
out. As PlayStation Now goes, I think it's gonna have a whole revamp on the PS5. I think they're going to redo the interface, everything about it. I think it's going to be completely integrated into the system now, so it's not just an app that you have to have on the PS4 to play it.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're up the resolution and stuff, because I think right now all PS Now games are running at 720p.
I don't think they will because of the connection issues. I think they're going to set. Yeah, what's that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I interjected. I just said bandwidth.
Yeah, bandwidth. So
possibly. So I'm wondering now if maybe they'll take games that you own and just put them on PS Now for you to play through that.
Well, no, that's why I said I feel like it's going to be like a digital thing where you put the disc in. Apart from the games you own digitally, of course, you just download those. But you put your disc in, it will confirm that you've got the game on the store. Then you download the game from the store, and then you have to have the disc in at all times to play it.
I could see that.
So it's not really reading off the disc. It's just using it. Just like loads the disc up. Make sure you actually got the game, and then everything's then booted off of the SSD.
I can't see them doing that because that's what they were going to do with the PSP when they made such a big digital stink with it, and they never did it. They backed out on it. I don't think they're
PSP Go, right?
Yeah,
I don't think they're doing it. They're not going to do it that way. It's either going to be something where we can like play the digital versions that we own, or it'll allow us to play.
Yeah, I thought that's how
everything.
the Xbox version works, though.
It is. You put the disc in, and it gives you the digital download on it, but I think you still have to have the disc to play the digital copy.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting to see, but now is definitely getting a whole makeover for 5. they're gonna include it in PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus. Sorry, I want them to, but I doubt that it will. Just because what PlayStation Plus is $60 now for a year.
Yeah.
Now is $100 for the year. Like one of those is gonna take a big on a charge, $130 for the subscription price, which is just ridiculous.
I wish they could have subscription tiers.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be nice.
PlayStation Plus.
I don't see them adding PlayStation Now to Plus, but now that I think about it, they could do it.
Well, it would.
PlayStation Plus.
It depends. If their Plus is about the same price as before, and they're now getting people to go and play PS Now with that, it would be a sneaky way to get people to have both accounts. Right now you've got less people playing it because it's a separate thing that people don't want to buy. By trying to have it sneak in with Plus and then eventually change it, have it like a launch deal. Look, if you got your PS5, okay, for the first year, here is PlayStation Plus and PS Now in a bundle, and then sneakily split it off in the future or increase the price.
Well, they have to do something because I doubt they're going to start giving you free PlayStation 5 games when the system comes out.
Alright, well, they will. Of course they will. They'll
give you free PlayStation 5 games when the system comes out?
They don't have to be like big ones. Like, with the PS4, the first free games were what the
indie
hell was
titles.
that thing? Yeah, indie titles. I can't remember the hell it was called, but I platinumed the shit out of it on everything I could because I'm a sucker.
Goat Simulator.
That game angered me so much, but I loved it.
I honestly doubt they will, at least for the first half of the year the system is out. I don't think they're going to give you PS5 games.
I feel like that's the whole reason why they dropped PS3 and PS.
They had to drop it for a reason, right? Because we're only getting 2 games now, and everybody thought we'd be getting these huge AAA games now because
we got
nothing's really changed. We're still getting, in my opinion, the same quality of games.
Hey, we got Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and we also got
PS3 game. Yes.
I think it had to do a little bit with the financial aspect of them trying to cut costs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hashtag.
So, Ed, what do you think about all this? We've been talking about it, so...
It's all very interesting, man. Streaming in general is going to be the future. I mean, right now we don't really see that to the fullest extent because of our infrastructure limitations and business in general not working with each other, meaning sharing their lines or or just their, resources with each other. And right now we don't see it as such, but I think it is coming to that point. I think the PS Now concept is pretty cool. You do have to realize with that, Sony's basically setting up PS4s somewhere in the region in your particular area that you basically link to, and it streams whatever it's running from that location to your house to be able to play that game. So depending on what they want to do as far as increasing that capability and going what you guys just mentioned as the Xbox SAD, utilizing that aspect of just having digital gaming but from a remote location that's just basically streamed to you, I think it'll all get there, and I think it'll all be pretty well run. You won't have as much lag, just depending on your high speed and your connection. You have spikes and everything, but it's getting to that point. Yeah.
I guess we should go talk about the sales that are going on next. PlayStation's getting... What's up? Sorry, Tim.
I don't know. I think my biggest issue with streaming is ownership.
Yeah.
It's going to be my biggest issue with everything.
I completely agree with you, man.
Yeah, it sucks that we don't own the thing.
There are things like, what the hell is it called? Humble Bundle, where you can get DRM free things. So, you own the digital format of what you've downloaded.
As it should be.
That's a good middle ground. But with streaming, you're going to be limited to whatever the hell the company is going to allow you to access. Even if you have the right to play it, it doesn't mean you have the right to own it or play it necessarily when you want versus when the company is allowing you to. And that's a personal problem. And especially since in this last year, I've been spending a lot of time and resources going into collecting old games and trying to look at... I've looked at my own library digitally, and I've gone, holy shit. I'm so deep in this thing. I'm so deep in this digital market that I don't know where it's going to be, once either Sony completely busts, which is unlikely, or it, completely disregards old content, 20, 30 years from now or whatever, or even 10, who knows? Who the hell knows? But that's not up to me anymore. Like if I were to go out and get an Atari, Atari can't come to my house and say, "Oh yeah, you can't play that." I can just play it because I own an Atari and it's in my house. And when it comes to streaming things, I will be always at the dependency of that, and that's a problem for me. And I think that should be something that people are more worried about. And I don't want to say it's going to be like one of those, like Big Brother things necessarily, because companies don't give a shit about what we're doing. They give a shit about what we're spending money on. And, one thing always leads to another, of course, and I'm not trying to be super paranoid, but I don't like the idea of these companies dictating my ability to consume things when I want to. And that's going to be an issue with streaming. And if this is something that comes up in the next 5 years, like it was a brand new idea, I'm literally going to go ham sandwich on people.
Well, yeah, everyone seems to ignore the PS Now. Especially, yeah, you check on any forum, it's like, oh my god, look at Google with its new idea of streaming, even though so many things have gone before to try it. Not just PlayStation Now, but you remember on Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, do you feel like in the future, because it is kind of heading towards all that aspect, the whole DRM rights and streaming and having this digital library that you own that you don't technically own, that physical copies would basically be a luxury and part.
Yeah, and I could see it becoming something that is either highly taxed or intensely overpriced just for their convenience. So they go, oh, well, you can either get this version for $60, and play it online, quote, whenever you want in the next year, or you can spend $100, $120, $150, $200 to have a disc of the game. People are going to go, oh, well, that's cheaper just to stream it, and then buy into it. And I see that being something that, that's one of those type of, like, mogul tactics. And we've seen it plenty of times in the last couple of years. Like, a good example, I guess, would be, and it's not comparative by any means, but financially, from a business standpoint, business tactic-wise, it's the same. Like, you look at insurance things, like they could say that they provide an option that's out there that covers everything, but in order to have that, you have to break your back 5 times in 30 seconds in order to afford it.
That's
right.
Selling your entire family's kidney. So, like, the fact that it's being said that it's being sold is one thing, but it being accessible is another. And I see that being a potential problem, especially with costs going up, and then, you have retailers wanting to get in on the bid, and then you have the companies needing to make money because they're obviously, spending time and resources and man hours to create these things. People hours, excuse me. Yeah. And, you start to think, like, everything's going to get monetized because everybody's got to have their hands in the pocket, which is, fine or whatever, because everything has its regulations, everything has its delegations. We need to have those kind of that kind of monitoring on all levels, but it's going to get to the point where historically the consumer is the victim. The consumer is the one that has to answer all of the questions that companies pose, and it's always the customer's wallet, and that's going to be the deciding factor on these things. So it's either going to be I see this as the company's convenience being the cheapest way for the consumer to consume something. But if the consumer, for instance, wants to maintain ownership, quote unquote, at least to a certain extent, they will have to shell out for an extra amount that they can tactily hold in their hands. And that worries me, just because I'm looking at my shelf right now and I see games spanning from PS1 to PS4 to Nintendo Switch to GameCube to PSP to Vita. I see all of this right there, and I can just go and grab any one of them. And I mean, I won't, because it's a humongous backlog and I'm lazy at this very moment. But I worry. I'm turning into a broken record at this point, but I I am worried ultimately, just because we're becoming more willing to forfeit our rights for the sake of convenience. In general, not just in gaming, but this comes to like Netflix. You have all these streaming services, all of these things that are being like paid services. Like it's gonna be something that we're gonna have to come to terms with at some point, or we're gonna have to figure out how to handle, because it will get out of control, I think.
I got a question for you with that aspect. So why do you think that consumers weren't as concerned when Steam first came about back in like 2004, having that whole digital rights aspect and, not raising their hand saying, well, this is not physical. How do I know you're going to survive as far as a company?
I feel like there
What are you gonna
was.
do
It's just it's
guarantee me?
been so long that people have forgotten it. I still remember there being problems with people with not wanting to use Steam because they don't know if they'd own it or not.
Yeah.
Agreed, but I feel like that has also kind of, died down. And I'm not fighting for that side. I'm just saying, I'm trying to balance
Well,
out
yeah,
the conversation.
it's died down just because it's been 13 years and people have got so used to the industry standard being pushed down their throat that
Right.
there's no people won't be able to fight because there's just so many people that are used to it now.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that going to be like an acceptable norm? Because if you compare it to movies, right? You buy a movie, you have the hard copy, it's yours to keep. Or you sign up for a streaming service like Netflix or HBO Now or whatever else is out there. And it's just like, is that the norm? And is that the status quo? Like, do we care for tangible items anymore? Or are we going to care in the future? There's always...
Well, I feel like the main issue with comparing it with movies is the fact that most movies don't hit a streaming service for a long time after the physical release. So people rush out to hit to get the physical copies. I don't know the difference between digital or physical. I know digital comes out earlier, but
that's changing now. A lot of movies are releasing at least a month earlier on digital formats.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's
and stuff like that, so you can buy it before.
I could see Disney doing a thing where, I say Disney just because it's so big and it has so much media out there now, both old and upcoming. It could be with Disney Plus or whatever the hell it's called. They could have it so that all their new movies are going to be streamed for the first month or so before release on their exclusive service.
I don't think they'll do that because that'll affect movie going too much.
No, not through theater. Like they keep the theatrical ends of things, but before the physical release, the Blu-rays and DVDs hit the market, they would do that streaming through there, and then people would say, "Oh, well, I can just buy it through there," and then they would say, "Well, we're not making enough money on physical means because people aren't buying them, so we're not going to do them anymore."
Yeah, and I feel that's why we don't have. I know digital's there's still the digital earlier than physical, but I'm feeling like streaming is more of the threat than digital. So
right, but one thing has begotten another, and that's where I'm going with it.
Anyway, Gary,
digital is not necessarily a problem because it's a great way to back up material, and things like that. But the digital age has brought about the age of convenience, and streaming is a result of that.
Streaming is the best convenience. You don't even have to wait for download. You just click play. Carry on.
I was going to say, you talked about it getting a little dangerous, I believe you said.
Yeah.
And in a way, it is, because now you look at how successful Netflix has gotten, and now everybody wants a piece of the pie. Mm-hmm. HBO Now is going. NBC is releasing their new app starting next year. CBS has, and you all have these exclusive shows you can only get on them. So at first it was, we want to cut, Comcast out and all that, where we pay a ridiculous amount of money to have all these programs, HBO and Showtime and stuff like that, and their own specific channels that they wanted to get. They didn't want to buy these huge bundles of channels they didn't want. They're essentially going to be paying the same price they did before with 7 different apps from 7 different networks that are selling you the same thing.
That's why I loved What You Got It so much, Verve, when it comes to anime, because all the different companies under one umbrella.
It's too bad that's not a case anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and now it is happening with video games too. You have PlayStation Now, right, which obviously has third-party games and stuff, but now a lot of the third-party companies also releasing their own. You got Ubisoft, they have their own. You have EA, who has EA Access. I'm sure Activision is going to release theirs soon. And then eventually you can only get Activision games if you have the Activision.
Oh no! You mean I won't be able to get Call of Duty or Call of Duty?
You say that,
or Call of Duty,
and yet millions of people still play it. So you can't really deny that. Right now, EA is still good because they have their own platform.
I'm just saying that really they can't.
Giving it to other platforms.
They have the least amount of games that they can promote their platform with.
I'm just saying in general.
I mean, if that service is not more than £5 a month, they're screwing themselves.
And it's that fear that you have that something is just gonna run out of business. Like Sony can run out of business.
Yeah,
feasible thing, and all those digital games that you bought into them. Right now the Vita in particular is heavily reliant on the Vita's PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
They shut that store down. That's pretty much like 70% of the library that you no longer have access to.
Don't worry. Don't worry, Gary. Nintendo has already cut that off. You won't be able to play your old Nintendo games anyway.
See? But I'm just saying, I think it's the fear that you're going to lose all of your games if, say, Sony shuts down and Nintendo or Microsoft doesn't buy assets. Right now in movies, you're lucky, because, say, for those who don't know, Ultraviolet was a streaming service. Came with a lot of digital copies.
Yep.
And you didn't have a choice. That's shut down now. Luckily, you can transfer your Ultraviolet movies to Vudu if you want to.
But who do you Vudu?
It's going to come to that point where if they keep shutting down, what happens when somebody just doesn't want to buy it anymore? Those digital movies, you no longer have access to them. And it's the same thing with games. And I think the biggest fear started to kick in when people realized that games digitally can be and are being discontinued pretty much. We saw it with Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Gone. You can never have that game anymore. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time remastered on the PS3 and the Xbox One.
That was a thing?
Yep.
I have it. I still have it.
No.
But you can never buy it anymore because it's not available anymore. All the Adventure Time games are now gone from Steam and from PlayStation Network and Xbox Live. They're gone. You can never get them anymore. That's the biggest fear now, is people are realizing with digital is they can take that stuff away from you. If you bought it already, you can still download it, but you can never buy it again. And now with with Epic Games coming out and they're buying exclusive rights to some games, obviously the Steam community is freaking out and getting pissed off. But pissed off when they were taking a whole bunch of exclusives from everybody else.
By the way, Epic did come out and say, look, if Steam changed its policy on paying the developers, they'll stop buying exclusives. They said that if Steam does the same payment that they do, then they'll stop buying the exclusives in the future.
Well, that's fine. I doubt
We'll see if
Steam
that
will do
happens.
it. But I'm just saying, now it's in the digital video game realm where now you have to have Epic Games Store to play some games.
Like the great game that comes out under the year. That cannot be named.
It's a PC game. Have it everywhere. PC used to be the only platform where if a game comes out, you can play it on PC, even if you don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation.
To be fair, now you got an Xbox, you can also not play it on your Xbox, you can play it on your PC.
Yeah, pretty much. But PC was the go-to. If you can play it on something, you can pirate it, whatever. Now they're kind of taking that away from you too with PC. I think at this point you just have to understand and realize that nothing really lasts forever.
Except our love for the viewers.
The data on your physical disc is going to degrade over time. It happens.
Yeah, the data on your cartridge will slowly degrade.
Yeah. So even Yeah, so you can buy physical, but it's gonna last.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my 2 cents on it.
Anyone else got any
That's
2 cents? Tim?
To go back to your question, Ed, I don't know if I can really answer it. I know it's not really a good way to go back to the question, but I can't really answer necessarily because I didn't have any PC presence when Steam was going crazy. Like the only thing I ever played was World of Warcraft, and that had nothing to do with Steam, and I didn't give a shit because
Yeah.
I still don't do a lot of PC gaming for the same reasons that I have now, but I just played World of Warcraft because I had a lot of people played with, and that was just on its own thing, which is its own thing now. But yeah, so I can't necessarily answer. But I think a good addition to that idea is that we still have things like Humble Bundle, and like, on our end of things, we have things like Limited Run, and oh my God, there are a couple other places. I know there's another place
Good old
for
games, right?
yeah, and there's another place for PC that does physical versions of games too. So like there are channels that are trying to keep things, going and keeping things in the consumer's favor, and they end up costing more just because of the hoops and loops and weird tricks that these companies have to do in order to be able to do something like this. But yeah, I see that being a continued thing in the future, just because enough people will appreciate the being able to maintain a sense of history with their media and the
Agreed.
things that they love. And that's kind of how history is in general. Like the people who love the things will find ways to record it and keep it intact. And that's where I see that becoming a trend in gaming and any media, really, just because people love these things and they have very good reasons to enjoy these things. And the idea of not being able to maintain that love by means of like sharing or physical expression or something like that is, in my mind, very, I don't know, kind of depressing. I just don't
Right.
like the idea of these parts of me that I've consumed into my psyche, into my preferences, and into my well-being, just being taken away just because somebody doesn't think there's enough money in it.
Right. No, I just wanted to hear you guys' opinion when that actually happened because I was around at that time and it was concerning. But what they were letting you do is if you were to go to the store and buy a physical game like Half-Life, you would use that CD to input into Steam, and then it would just, allow you to use it through the downloaded system, but you still have the physical copy. But that was just, I wanted to know what you guys' opinion was. I do want to state, though, with the whole physical digital aspect, as the modern countries do begin to go that way, and they will, there's going to be a huge push for streamable content to get, this content quickly accessible to their particular consumers instead of going to the store and buying it. It's just like we're doing with Netflix and so forth. But the modern countries, will have that pushed quicker than the rest of the world because a lot of the other countries don't have quick access to the internet or just high-speed internet in general, and they may still rely on tangible products that they can insert into their particular gaming consoles and play there without being connected to the net. So depending on how these corporations, Sony, Microsoft, go about with that knowledge, it'll still give us the ability to have here, or in the modern countries too, with the physical content aspect, buying a game at the store, whatever you want to call it. I just think that the streaming will be pushed considerably. With anything that relates to technology, it's always ever advancing, and we'll get to a point where we're not really thinking about the aspects that we're discussing today, and we may not be as concerned depending on the rights that we are received through utilizing those platforms.
Truth. As long as the rights are maintained, then I feel like, personally, I would be more open-minded. But the fact that more and more of my rights are being inhibited on for the sake of convenience, it starts to degrade against my likeness for these products.
Yeah, I mean, just one more comparison, like the music industry, right? Look how popular Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, all that has gotten to the point where people don't even care or even consider buying a CD because it's not convenient. Now, those are two different realms, so just keep it at a grain of salt. Let's not compare the particular nuances and the details, but just want to say that adaptability and that convenience factor is big for a lot of generations, and even the younger generations who didn't grow up in our time having these, boxed items. They would prefer to download it, not realizing how wonderful it is to have that particular game or an old SNES game in your hand and keeping it as part of your collection. They won't even have that particular thought process anymore because they were never introduced to it.
No.
And you talk about it. You a collector.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of old stuff, and all my stuff is sealed too. Like I like it keeping it.
Yeah, and it's
That's
great
hot.
because you and I talked about it for so long. Like, changer on our PS3, so we have to get up and change the disc all the time.
We were thinking so old.
And there's at one point you were all for digital. It's like, I'm just going to download it. I'm tired of getting up and putting in the disc. It happened a lot with Need for Speed. Remember that?
You're not the only one.
Yeah,
I still wish that old consoles had like multi-disc changes. That'd be sick.
Oh my god, that would be lit.
Like those old school 200 disc CD changes that they used to build back.
Yeah, I want
Yes,
that.
please.
But yeah, no. See, now you're a huge collector. Obviously, you don't open the games; you keep them all sealed. But it's the fact that you have this physical thing you can look at.
Right.
I think is
And
really cool. And I feel that way with books too. Like, yeah, it's cool and all, but
absolutely,
it's holding the book, smelling the smell of a new book that you just bought is completely different experience.
right. I agree with you, man. And it's sad too because I'll buy the digital copy and then I'll wait for the physical copy to go down in price just so I can put it into my collection and never open it. So I'm technically buying the product twice.
And that's another thing. Like, if you're gonna go digital and physical, why am I paying the same price for both? If I don't own your digital thing, why am I
Preach, Gary.
paying the same price or more for it? In some cases,
Preach.
like it should be at least $15 cheaper digitally. Matter. I think it's
Agreed.
ridiculous that I'm paying the full price because it's less to put it on digitally than it does to put it on the physical disc. Oh my god, hashtag.
I think you and I discussed that outside of this, obviously, personally, but I think some of the qualms that I've read about were if, let's say, the PlayStation Store was hosting digital content that was cheaper than the retail stores, the retail stores would start to look at that and say, okay, if you're in a way cannibalizing this particular market because you're selling it through your digital means and then having us set at a higher price point, what's the point of us having this in our stores? So to avoid that conflict, they always try to keep digital a little bit higher so the retailers still get a piece of the pie and are able to give their sales and discounts, whatever they want to do, to entice the customers to come through and buy the copies. But I still agree with you. As far as price, because to them it's so much cheaper not to have to build that tangible item and then just stream it to you through their own servers and save a lot of cost with the middleman.
Funny thing is, now it's coming back to bite these retailers in the ass. Like GameStop, for example, it's completely biting them in the ass.
Let's not talk about the devil.
Like you buy the game, you return it, they give you half of the money that you spent on it, but they sell it for like $2 less than. But they get to keep all the profits from the used sale. Like none of that money goes to the developer.
No.
Publisher, and they try to cannibalize that like hardcore, and now it's really biting them in the ass. I think they lost like
They lost a
$10
lot of
last
money.
quarter. They lost a lot of money. They're
Wow.
looking for buyers. They're looking for anything to keep afloat right now. And even Best Buy tried used game sales.
They
That didn't work
did.
out
That's
for
so
them.
true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That didn't work out for them for whatever reason. Amazon has tried, having their own used game sell thing. It's still there, but you have to really look for it actually.
It's kind of dude.
So like they try, but it's not. It really backfired on them. Trying to do that. It worked for GameStop for a while, but then people were like, "What the fuck, man?"
Can I just give you my ultimate gripe with GameStop? Here's what drives me the most insane about that shopping experience. So I was in there a few days ago because they had a sale on a particular game. I can't remember what it was, but I just wanted to add it to my collection, right? It was like $15. And I asked if they had any copies left, and the girl says yes. I'm like, all right, great. I'll take it, right? She goes and pulls the display box from the shelf and pulls a CD from her drawer to put in there. And I'm like, excuse me, I thought you mentioned that was new. And she's like, oh, no, this is new. I'm like, that's open.
Oh, they're still doing that shit.
Yeah.
Does that drive you insane?
Dude, complain.
I do. I'm like, can you understand that if I were to buy a new sealed copy and bring it back to you open, how would you consider that to be? You consider it used and you wouldn't accept the return. So why in the hell are you selling me a game that's already open that you're considering new when I know your employees take it home and play it because they have that privilege, even though they deny it, and then bring it back? That's already used on two.
Yup.
So when I see that shit with that company and they try to pull that crap on people or to have you sign up for protection from, disc damage or whatever they're quoting, yeah, it might work for little kids, but not people above a reasonable age that take care of their stuff. But my point is like, don't sit there and tell me this is new when you opened it and you wouldn't accept it in the same state if I were to do it with
Hashtag.
Yeah.
hashtag.
There was one more thing I believe Ed wanted to talk about really quickly. PSN name change.
Oh yes, my bread and butter.
Yes, and why is Sony taking away so much stuff when I change my name?
All right, man. So please bear with me. I am a data engineering manager. I live in that world of databases and data warehousing. So I'm going to speak in the layman's terms. I'm going to use this, I don't know, small vocabulary, I guess I could say. I'm not trying to be rude. When I try to educate people, I don't like to use big words. I don't want to sound like a prick or use something that you're obviously not aware of. So I'll try my best, and I'm going to give you my speculation and perspective as to why it doesn't work for them. So just to start off, when PSN first launched, I don't think that the database architects or the team at the time was ever considering a possibility of name change. So the particular database architecture was designed to not have that implemented. Now, what do I mean by that? So everybody's familiar with Excel, right? Are you guys familiar with Microsoft Excel?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So within Excel, you have sheets, okay? And you have columns and you have rows. Now, that's exactly how a database manages data. There is no actual like picture or sound bites or anything that's media related. It's all text is what I'm trying to say there.
Mhm.
That would be more for like a different type of database style, like a data lake, aka Hadoop. So when they're building this, they have all these tables, and these tables are predefined for an entity. So being users, so you're a user, right? Gary's a user, Tim's a user, Ben's a user. You're all users, and all your attributes, aka information, like your address, um, your screen name, and everything that comes with you being a user is maintained in one particular table. Now they'll have a different table that's dedicated to the different library of games they have in their database, right? And then they'll have a table that basically manages that relationship between the user and their content, right? And we usually call these bridge tables, link tables, VLOOKUP or lookup tables, however you want to place it. They basically define the relationship by saying, here's Gary, here's his user key on our backend, and here's the game's unique identifying key. We have now this table that defines that relationship. So they've built this architecture to have that premise on hand, right? And they have all these different variables involved. Outside of games, they'll have your movies, and I'm not familiar, but I think they might sell music. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember what they sell. I know they have movies. So they'll have that relationship created, and so forth and so forth. So when it launched, they had that in mind of creating these relationships. Now, everybody's been begging for the aspect of having new names involved, right?
Mhm.
Well, they know, Sony or whoever knows, that their database was not created to support new names. Why? Because they would not know how to manage all this logic behind maintaining those relationships between your original account and the new name that you'd want to incorporate, and all the content behind it. They find it to be troublesome. Now, if you were to look on their particular pages, like Sony.com, they even lay that out. They won't go to that extent of describing it, but they'll say, hey, if you do change your name, here are some of the games that may not be compatible. Here are some of the software that you would lose and you'd have to like rebuy. They don't say it in those words exactly. That's not verbatim, but I'm just saying that is an aspect. And they warn you about it because they know that they can control some aspects within their database, but then there's another variable involved, right? If you were to buy a game from EA or Ubisoft, whoever you want to mention, and you communicate with their servers to use their servers for internet play, because I don't think Sony hosts all their servers for you to play multiplayer with, so don't quote me on that, but I know there's a portion of it that is dedicated from those particular companies for you to play in their systems. Now, there's a relationship there between their user store, aka user table, and Sony's user store, aka user table, that now has to have a relationship. And I go through, or excuse me, Gary goes through and updates his name. Okay, well, did you guys create protocol, or what we call in the industry triggers, or updates, change data capture updates to maintain that relationship? Did they incorporate that into their architecture? They probably did not. So that's where they get the whole insanity behind trying to manage these relationships of your content and your new name. And if you were to change it again, you'd give them another hierarchy of confusion, right? Because now you have this new name that's supposed to relate to the old name that you hated, and then it's supposed to relate to the older name that you started with to link back all your contact. Now, once again, that is my presumption of how they'd have to go about that. Because if they actually wanted to go in there and supersede your new name with the old, they also have everything that I discussed as being a possibility, breaking those relationships. And you have to rely on your architecture and other companies' architecture to make sure your content is not lost, or you'll have a lot of pissed off consumers. Now, I'm pretty sure to make this happen to some extent, they have tried to create a new architecture on the side. You'd want to do this. You'd create this whole new database and all this new control for this new particular feature of changing names to exist, and to migrate everybody's data to that new database seamlessly without affecting the user. All that shit is highly, highly complicated. And that's why I feel there's so much hesitation and just slowness when they get around to actually doing this, because they're afraid of looking dumb when they lose your content, having login errors, or having corrupted information that they can't revive for you. Like, you know, they basically lose their longtime customer, and then you have your customer service lines blowing up, and it's all up to the back end engineers to correct all.
Hello?
Yeah, I think he just disappeared.
He was still talking on my screen, but it stopped. That was incredible, though. I was enjoying what he was saying.
Yeah.
Um,
Something I was hoping to bring up is that, like, since our names, like, if we do a name change, we still have to, our old name is still
Yeah.
taken. So why is it not a possibility for us to, like, say, on PS4 we can change the name for PS4 games, but just keep it like a layered name. So, like, if we get on PS3, it's going to be our old account.
I guess like some sort of filter name where it's just like a...
Yeah.
Say that again, Tim. What were you saying? Like, it works on PS4 but not 3?
Well, with the name changes, we know for a fact that when somebody changes their username, the old username is still claimed and it's still in their,
Yes.
like, their history or something.
Yes.
So my question is, since those two truths, or, you know, those two things, those two entities still exist, the new one and the old one, how come they didn't think about the option of making, like, all PS4 content with the new name, just, like, basically put a sticker on the old name?
Basically like kind of how... I think Twitter has... Yeah, like you've got your name on Twitter, which is your name appeared, and then you've got your Twitter username.
Yeah. And I mean, there's
Right.
always the option to change, just like
Screen name and
the, like,
username, that's it, isn't
Facebook
it?
link, and then
You've got
yeah.
your screen name, and then you've got your username underneath that.
I mean, there's
That's
always
what
that option where you can just change your Facebook name or whatever, and it displays over with your close friends.
Yeah.
So, like, if they could do something like that, why can they not do something like that for, like, the base PS4 infrastructure? If the PS4 infrastructure is more malleable in that way.
That's a great question, and I would just say, with that aspect in mind, as far as having like a different screen name that relates to your old account that you can still log in with, if I understood you correctly, they could do that. I see it as an option, but the reason why your old name doesn't get deleted and can't be utilized is because I personally believe they're using a hierarchy. So they'll supersede your old name, right, with this new name, but they'll keep that link between the new name and the old alive, because that old name has the connection to all your contact. Now, to avoid going through and seeing any kind of custom logic that was built into legacy code and possibly having a mishap for everything that I just mentioned earlier, they did that to kind of battle that aspect. Does that make sense? I think they're kind of trying to cover their ass, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So, but to answer your question in full, as far as why is it so hard, it's basically because when they were building this foundation for their network infrastructure, they didn't even have that in their minds. They kind of shot themselves in the foot building on this logic that only revolved around your key user identification and never, for whatever reason, assuming that people would want to change their names, which is very stupid.
Hashtag.
Oh, so that's pretty much the opposite of what Microsoft did. When Microsoft did Xbox Live, they took into account then that people may want to change this and still keep all their shit.
Yeah. But the
Smart
difference
move.
is that Microsoft and Sony, Microsoft's a software company first. So they
Yeah.
knew,
Very good point.
they already
Very good
knew it in their mind. Hell, they made Excel, so...
They knew how it worked.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you.
You're welcome, man. I didn't want to go too much into detail, but to Ben's point, he's right. They were a software company first. They've already realized how to have user management,
Yeah.
which is actually, just so you know, in any corporation is very troublesome. And if
The
you
dog
hear my
agrees.
dogs, I apologize.
Does that kind of thing also go with the crossplay and why Sony is so not wanting to do crossplay with Microsoft and Nintendo?
It can be. It definitely is a variable that could be a problem. But I personally, to all corporations, speaking to all corporations, I think it's a profitability aspect.
But yeah,
They want you to just stay in their own little realm. They want you to play their first-party titles. They don't want to play with other companies because if you look at it this way, I vaguely remember when Xbox was on top, and I know they switched sides now. I think Xbox is the lesser choice between PS4 and the two main consoles.
well, this generation, Xbox has never been on top.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yeah.
But when they were with the previous generation,
Yeah.
I
didn't
think
want
there
to play next
was
either.
conversation of possibly creating that cross-platform play, and I vaguely, correct me if I'm wrong, remember that Microsoft didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Sony
didn't wanna
wanted to
play
do
that
it that
Sony.
year. Whoever's I've said it before on lots of different sections of different forums off Twitter. The winner is the one who will always deny crossplay.
Right.
The reason why the people we all know that Microsoft wants it because Microsoft always loved to promote how well its how many live accounts it has, and how well its online services are doing. By forcing all games to be crossplay, they could then just put the PlayStation owners under the same banner of live access accounts.
Exactly.
And to go with that, it also did happen this gen as well, where,
Yeah.
well, Final Fantasy XIV, they wanted to have cross-platform play because they wanted all the communities to be together, PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. The reason the game hasn't come out on Xbox is because Microsoft did not want that to happen. They did not want their users to play with PlayStation and PC players. They
Well,
wanted
not-
it to be... Yes,
They-
go ahead, Ben.
not-
You know about it more than I do.
Not just 100% that they don't mind PlayStation owners playing with Xbox and PC, but they want an option so that Xbox players can have their own servers as well as the current servers that are offered. Because Microsoft's policy used to be that crossplay is allowed, but you've got to be able to play only Xbox as well. But also, not only with that, but Microsoft wanted people to pay for gold to play Fantasy 14 because they wanted them to use the Xbox Live servers. Because currently, if you have it on PlayStation, you do not need the PlayStation Plus because it doesn't use the PlayStation servers. It uses Square Enix's servers. So, yeah. Those are the two things.
Another thing I wanted to add on, and this is just from a technical standpoint, I would say specialized network protocol. I'm not saying Microsoft and Sony have different network protocols. It's fundamentally all the same, but they do have certain aspects of functionality that could be inhibiting it, that they don't want to invest the resources into developing and making them play with each other because they don't really see what the return on investment is behind that. Once again, speculation, because like in my world databases, we have so many different types to choose from: Oracle, SQL Server, Snowflake, Teradata, DB2. I can go on. Now they all run primarily off of ASCII,
Which is-
ANSI standard SQL code.
Like I say, ASCII is the American Standard Code for Information Interchange.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Yay.
ANSI. So they all have the same SQL functionality, SQL being standard query language, as far as select from, where, order by, all those particular statements. But some of those databases have particular functions they've incorporated to make your experience that much easier that you wouldn't have to code on your own. Now, once again, this whole network protocol thing that they might have like particular coding within is, once again, speculation. But I can see that being a problem too.
I think in the technical term, it's something like they might fail their handshake.
There you go.
Yay! I am the smarts.
That's awesome, dude.
So, I guess we'll wrap up this week's podcast. It's been nice having you on, Ed.
Hey, it's been great. I appreciate you guys having me.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
Tim wanted to tell us what he's been playing.
Okay. Tim, what have you been playing?
He's gone now. He hates us.
Oh, I missed you. Tim, what you been playing? Tell us. We demand it.
Something. Ed, what have you been playing?
Well, being part of the PC Master Race. Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
He's been playing. He's been playing Crackdown and Halo.
There you go. Yeah. I've still stuck in the Battlefield 5 world, which I found to be really polished and really fun. I unfortunately do play it on the PC just because I built a new PC, but there's a whole problem right now in that community with a lot of hackers.
Yeah.
Still fun though. I don't know if you guys know hacking is pretty rampant in the PC world because they have subscription services.
I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
Yeah.
Not really shocked.
EA does a shitty job at controlling that. So I've been playing that, and then I just barely bought World War Z to play Gary on PS4, so we're going to be jumping more into that.
I've heard that's
Yes,
fun.
hit me up.
Done. We should all play.
I don't have it.
Well, let's get it for you.
Yay!
Yeah, boy.
I was actually looking at, because they've got a sale on right now, I was actually looking at Kingdom Hearts 3 because it's $40, which is like £30, which is £24 cheaper.
Man.
It's not worth
It's going to
it?
be like $20.
I will wait.
Plus, there's expansion coming out, so
Yeah,
you won't
remind.
be playing Kingdom Hearts at all.
Oh, you mean Fantasy 14, Shadowbringers?
Yeah.
That's out in
Yay.
end of June, early July. Oh, can't wait.
So,
That's why I didn't buy Ni no Kuni 2, even though I saw
need
it for
to be a
£12.
you missed out.
So, Tim, you're back. We missed you. What have you been playing? Tell us. We need to know.
I've been playing a few review games. I can't
Ooh.
talk about them yet. But I have been playing. What the hell is this game? Assassin's Creed 3, and it's been eye-opening.
Garbage.
What game is
It's been eye-opening.
I like that. What game have I been playing? Assassin's Creed 3.
This is why I stopped Ben from finishing the podcast.
Look, Tim. Okay, you can talk more about Assassin's Creed 3 if you can confirm one fact for me. Okay?
Yeah.
Have you
Probably
unlocked
can.
the Assassin Turkey?
What?
The Assassin Turkey.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
What?
You know the house.
I know the house.
Yeah, the little with the little farmy area where you start off. I think it's where you start off.
Yeah.
You can do a glitch. Well, you can do a cheat code kind of, and it turns the little turkey that walks around. He walks around in Ezio's hut, and he follows you around for a bit as an assassin turkey.
Oh.
Yeah,
Where's that?
You mean Connor's house?
Connor's house. Yeah, you got to do it at Connor's house.
I need that in my life.
Yeah, he just follows you around for a little bit in the Ezio outfit. It's a little turkey.
Oh my god. I need this.
So everyone needs to know about the Assassin Turkey. It's the best part of Assassin's Creed 3. Well, not the best part. That's over exaggerating a lot, but it's a cool part. A little Easter egg.
I don't know. You're pretty close to right.
So you too can have your own pet Assassin Turkey. So yeah, anyway, go back to you talking about the Assassin's Creed 3s.
It's been frustrating because I like certain things, but the whole game is just lazy and lackadaisical. It's no wonder they got away from the annualization formula.
Yeah. That game always
But
reminds me of when I played a preview event of an Assassin's Creed game, and it's the only event. It was a store. It wasn't like a press event. It was just a guy had the demo version early. He was going from like game store to game store so people could try it out.
Yeah.
And he had to stand there and tell you where to go, because if you didn't follow what he said exactly, it would just glitch the game out. It's like, okay. So you tell him if I move left here, yep, you fall through the graphics, because only a certain part of the actual graphics had been, certain collision had been programmed in. So if you tried to walk anywhere that wasn't part of a straight line, you died. It's like, well, this is fun. Assassin's Creed! No, with no open world. Alright, go back. Sorry, I'll shut up now. Tim?
It's gone again.
No.
Okay.
It's happening again. Okay, Ed, do you want to talk about anything before we wrap up?
I just want to say I've had a blast on your podcast, and thank you very much for having me. There's other things I'd like to discuss. Maybe, I don't know, at a later time if you guys care to have me on again.
We would love to.
Hey, I appreciate that. Like the industry and how they treat their employees and game designers in general.
Oh, yeah, that's
Into that
definitely
little
a topic we can talk about.
Yeah, man. It's always quite interesting to discuss. And once again, thank you. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. And if you haven't tried Titanfall 2.
Okay, the best first-person game this generation.
Yes, sir. I highly recommend it. That's such a good game.
I haven't finished it, but I've got it.
The single player is very short and awesome, man. I think you can kill it in like 8 hours.
Nice. Gary, Gary, you any shout-outs or anything? How can I contact you?
Yeah, well, of course, shout out to you guys. Shout out to my boy Ed. I can see you right now pointing at you.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
Shout out to Fonzie. Miss you. Hope you're doing well. We know you got some good news from you. Earlier this week, I should say. But yeah, you guys, Klaus, thanks for listening.
How can I contact you? You didn't say.
Oh yes, you can contact me on Twitter and almost anything else at Gaglaush. That's Gaglaush.
Ed, have you got any shout-outs?
Shout out to Chris, who is not here with us.
I forgot Chris. Shout out to Chris.
Wow, Gary, you've already moved on. Damn.
Wow. Ed's been here 1 week, Gary.
Man, shout out to you guys. Once again, thank you. I want to shout out to my dogs and my cats because I love them. I'm going to go cook up some steak here in a minute.
Oh, can I have some steak? Can I?
Of course, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to airmail that to right now.
Yeah. Just
like
don't cook it. Just send it raw, because by the time it goes through the plane and stuff, it'll be cooked.
Perfect, man. Just send me your details and I'll have that out there for you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Still be cheaper than buying steak here.
How much is steak over there?
Depends on your car. It can be expensive.
Let's say a good marbled rib.
See, that's the weird part. Ribeye is one of the cheapest cuts here.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your expensive with the
Well, standard store, you fillet really.
Fillet? What did you say? Fillet.
Fillet,
Oh, okay, yeah.
That'd be one of your more expensive cuts.
For sure. That's true.
So yeah. But yeah, ribeye is considered one of.
Too.
But I did try some Wagyu beef jerky recently. That was lovely.
Ooh.
You don't even get that here. That shit's probably going to be like a $40 bag for us.
No, there was
we don't get that here.
You barely got anything in it, by the way. It was like 3 or 4 pieces of like tiny, unseeable food, but it was like £1.70. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy more. It was nice. It was very sweet and barbecue. It was really nice. It's the first time I've actually really enjoyed beef jerky.
You might have to ship that over to us. I will cash you to make that happen if necessary. Cash you meaning the cash app that I can send money to you for.
Dude, I looked at how much it costs to send anything to where Ben is, and it's like quadruple the price of what you actually paid for.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Don't worry.
Well,
you know what,
yeah.
Ed? Just you'll come on like a road trip next summer in America next year.
You know what's funny? My girlfriend and I are considering going to the UK as a tour, like through Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and England.
Oh, nice. I live in the north, so yay.
We're gonna stop by, man.
Yay! You can
So
stop
the
by in
wall is-
Scarborough and
better
see all the
watch out, dude.
werewolves and the giant
Perfect.
seagulls.
That's where the wall is.
Werewolves.
Are
No,
we talking about White Walkers?
if you want to see wolves,
about
then you want to go
werewolves.
to York because the entire York Town Centre is built in a giant wall. There's a whole wall around the whole York Town Centre.
You say wolves like as a sanctuary, or just like they're out in the...
You'll find out if you visit Scarborough.
Perfect.
If
My
you,
girlfriend
if you don't
loves
come
wolves.
back, we'll know the answer.
Yeah, you have to take care of my dogs and cats.
I'll take them with me to find you or your corpse. They're hunters, right?
Yeah, they're more pull, working class dogs, but they can stay.
Yeah. Anyway, is there any way people can contact you? Is there any have you got
Me?
any social
Absolutely not. I value my privacy.
Okay,
You guys can definitely contact me. We'll talk about that after this recording.
that sounds good. Tim, shout outs and how can people stalk you?
Shout out to Chris because unlike Gary, I still love you.
Wow.
Dang. On the phone.
Shout out to Ed because I gotta say, I gotten only like a small glimpse into the love that Gary has for you, and
It blew his mind and his
There
mind.
are no words.
There are no words in. That's awesome.
I feel like it's perfectly done. You
That
can,
was perfect, man. A lot of dramatic effect there.
yeah. We love you, Tim.
what happened?
Hi.
You cut out, man. Right at
This
the
is
end
my
of it.
nightmare.
Welcome back. No, this is your moment. This is your
My moment.
perfect moment.
I don't know if you guys know, but Gary and I have known each other for, 27, 26 years.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
almost 3 decades.
That's almost half as old as Gary is.
Yeah, I desperately want Gary's love, but I'm coming to the terms that there's no such thing for me.
Aw.
I
Dude.
can't compete. I can't compete with you.
Plenty of
Man.
Gary to go around, man. You gotta just come to Utah.
Is
I
that a
doubt
fat joke?
I think he's delusional because there's no way 16 pumps can go between 3 people.
Whoa!
Whoa!
15 of those are from my boy.
Yes.
See,
Reserve.
this is why I can't compete. I'll just sit in the corner and eat ice cream.
I want ice cream. What
I
flavour?
might join you guys.
Nice.
I want some chocolate ice cream. Or maybe
I can't.
some...
You can have all the chocolate ice cream. I'll eat all the rest.
Yes.
You don't
Have
like
the peanut butter
chocolate?
one.
You
man.
can't eat
No,
chocolate.
I can't. I can't have caffeine.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like...
No, this is not a choice.
I was gonna say it's a poor choice, sir, but I get it. I get it.
Like most of my life, it's not a choice.
So, Tim, have you got any... how can people stalk you?
Look through Gary's window, you'll find me.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Dude, he's in Salt Lake. Let's go figure where he's at.
Well, he said he's looking through Gary's window, so Gary's house.
Gary, let's cruise, bro.
Hi, attack.
Wow. That'd be the most adorable attack ever.
Attack with cute little licks.
You find me
No,
anywhere
my
on
allergies.
with Timborelli. It's my name everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I'd like to shout out to Klaus, to Maelstrom Radio. Go check them out, twitch.tv. I'll shout out to She Heals I Tank, twitch.tv. They're coming back soon, so twitch.tv She Heals I Tank. My voice is going, but I want to continue to shout outs to go check out Musecast. Of course, by the time this has gone live, they would have done this, but they're celebrating their 3rd year doing podcasts. Twitch.tv/MusecastXIV or MusecastXIV.com. Also, go check out Gather Together, twitch.tv/Gather Together. I'll go check out the website. Also, go check out Moogle Go Around, where me and Paul have celebrated our 3rd year anniversary this week also. So go check out twitch.tv/Moogle Go Around Radio, where we celebrated our 3rd year with Taru TV on our recent show.
That's hot.
Shout out to Ed for being here. Seriously, it's been fun. I look forward to having you on a future show.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you can contact me at mgr_chili. Remember, I'm going to KuboCon in September, so if you're going there, go find me and I'll give you free stuff. Free stuff for everyone that finds me. So, I'm pretty easy to find. I'm pretty fat, so.
I wish I could find you.
Gary knows how easy I'm to find. He's seen me. I'm not hard to spot.
I literally watched you 4 times when I saw you.
There we go. So until next time, me and Tim will see you through the window, I guess.
There it is.
Bye.
Gary's window.
Gary's window.
Everybody's at Gary's house, I guess.
Go check out the Detective Pikachu movie coming out soon.